Hey everybody, welcome to Kimmel's Irish Pub. Time for another movie review. Tonight's movie, 100 Yards. So I'm kind of interested in this. I wanted to watch The Hill. I'm trying to get to that. That's $20 right now. A little rich for my blood, but we'll get there, right? But this is another faith-based movie, but this one's on Tubi, so it's free. You got to watch all the commercials. Hour and 53 minutes long. It's about a famous NFL star or college athlete who's going to go for the NFL, but decides not to. He's very troubled. And he goes home to look for his missing mother, but then finds out he has some sort of illness and it takes him on a wild journey. I don't know. Only 127 people rated it so far. Very excited about that. 5.5 on IMDb, as I mentioned on Tubi. Sean Patrick Flanery is in it, and I don't recognize anybody else at this point, but you know, sometimes IMDb does this thing. Anyway, I'll tell you a little about, there's a tool I used on my Fire Stick to help me find this one, so I'm kind of excited. And I think it's faith-based, because it's made by the same company that makes a lot of different faith-based movies. So that'll tell you, maybe you'll stick around, maybe you won't, but right now, which is cool because I paused it, it has the 2018 draft. And they ran upstairs, came back down, and they're talking about, I guess, this troubled player going to the NFL draft. So that's kind of exciting. That's neat. I like it. But I will have to sit through all the commercials. But I'll let you know if it's worth it. Stick around. I'll be back. Hey everybody, we're at the credits of 100 Yards. A little long, especially with all the commercials, but it was an okay film. Here's what we got, right? Let me lay it all out for you. We kind of know what it's kind of about. This quarterback, evidently from Colorado, is really good. This all happens right in the beginning. As I said, they're announcing the NFL draft. They don't call it the NFL, but they call it something else. And he gets drafted, I believe, by the Miami Dolphins, but he goes missing. Doesn't go there. They kind of make some comments that he has a bad temper and stuff like that, and throws temper tantrums, whatever. But he still gets drafted, goes missing. Fast forward, doesn't show a time frame, but he's in Cebu in the Philippines, and he's playing for the Cebu Saints, and it's like a non-pad tackle football team, so that's a little like, okay, I mean, it's okay that he goes and does that, but they make it seem like it's a big deal, and it's, so the football action in this is not where I'd like to see it, but whatever. The reason he goes to Cebu is because he's looking for his mother, who there was I believe a typhoon that had hit them, and she's been missing since there. So that's kind of why he escapes or leaves the United States and runs away from the draft to go find his mother. But he's playing football while he's doing it. So I'm not sure of the time frame there. Also, I'm just going to throw it all at you because this is all right out in the beginning. His younger brother had died at some point leading up to this. So that he's got a girlfriend who is using him and tries to set him up, essentially. Again, this all happens in the beginning, so a little bit of a spoiler alert. I don't know, sorry, but it happens. So this guy is just getting hit with like the worst thing ever. So as you can imagine, he's going to need that. And then he falls ill, as we know from IMDb. Right, so I mean, the hits just keep on coming. Now, in the beginning, I mean, for a large majority of this film, this guy was a real jerk. Couldn't stand him. Even when people were, I get it. Like they have the character be in this, state of mind a lot. But even when the guy who was his coach, who was like really like helping him, sitting on the couch and believing the fact that he's not doing what they're setting him up to doing, he was still kind of being a jerk. I was just like, okay, and so that kind of got to me a little bit, and they carried that out. Now, as far as the faith-based part of things, I mean, there is a lot of talk about God and getting closer to God, but there's no like aha moment in this one, like we've seen in every other ones. Which is interesting the way that they did this one, and not good or bad, but I like to share that with people who are like, I think some people judge maybe watching this film by how much is in there. So it's talked about, but it's not over the top. The underlining theme is really him finding his mom, but then we hit on all these different characters. I talked about a couple of them. There's even more. Like he meets, young kids. His mother was like, helping at orphanages and helping the underprivileged, and that's what her role was while she was in the Philippines. And so, anyway, so he's there's young kids in it, and there's characters there. His family, like I said, his girlfriend, the nurse. There's a lot of different side stories that overtake that whole finding your mom kind of story. And that's kind of why it takes long. So it does have a lot of different avenues in it, which kind of work out. I think there's critical, these kinds of films are usually lower budget. And it did take 1 hour and 53 minutes for this film. So I don't want to, but there's pieces missing. I mean, like the football part of it was okay, but the team rallies behind him and is like a good team, but you don't feel that. You see it on the screen and stuff like that, and you see the things that they do, but you don't feel it. And I guess it's hard to get all that in 1 hour and 53 minutes with all the different side stories that are going on. But there's some things like that, timeline stuff that kind of just things of that nature. I'm sure I had more. Sean Patrick Flanery's in it. He is another character that they have a little bit of a side story on, that he's like a reporter who's chasing him down to figure out what's going on, and then he gets rolled in everything that's going on. So there's really a lot to this film when you think about it, and I liked what they did to kind of bring it all together kind of at the end, and that made me realize how much more was in this film than you initially thought. Is it my favorite faith-based film? Probably not. Is it worth watching? I think so. Now, like I kind of said, a lot of them, not that this one doesn't have a good message in it, and I shouldn't say that. I think, no, now I think about it, but other ones, the message is, I don't know, it's a little bit more there than this one here. I don't think there was so much message. Usually in them, you see what he's doing, and he's doing wrong, and not in this case, but, and then, this is the message that you learn, the learning point, and stuff like that. I mean, in the end, this one's just like, hey, just be a good person, which, is usually the case. So I don't know, that kind of got lost, but, that's what I like about those types of faith-based films. This one's slightly different, and that's okay, nothing wrong with it, but interesting in its own point. If you think about it and you pay attention throughout the whole thing, and you see all the different stories that are going on and kind of their meaning, it makes it a little bit better on me. Watching it at its face value, I'll say this, but then as I talk about it more and I think about, it's like, so that's what I got for you. I don't know if I was helpful at all. Older film, I think it's 2019, whatever, doesn't matter. But check it out if that's your cup of tea. If I did any good job of describing what it's about and you find it interesting, great. If I described it pretty well and you don't find it interesting, skip it. I don't know. That's sorry I couldn't be more helpful. But hey, appreciate you tuning in. Kimmel's Irish Pub.